Well, good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here, WilhiteWX.com. Want to do a quick video here. There's some severe weather threat coming in tomorrow for Friday, July the 20th, 2018. Haven't had a chance to be on social media just a whole lot over the past month. My wife took a fall while we were on vacation and broke her leg, and so it's been kind of crazy around here. I've been a little bit more silent than what I usually would, but with severe weather working in tomorrow, got to let you guys know what's going on here. So an enhanced risk over a good chunk of southern Indiana now, really a slight risk or above all over the area in Kentucky. Majorly, most of Kentucky included in this more in the enhanced area as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see this go up to moderate if everything falls into place tomorrow. We could be looking at a pretty strong severe weather threat. Here's just more of a national view of that you can kind of see where that goes out. And, you know, the bullseye right over the lower Ohio Valley here into the Mississippi Valley as far as severe weather. We're also, if we go to the probabilistic here on the Storm Prediction Center page, you can see we're in this black hatching. That's where the likelihood of large hail would stand to be in there, also of significant tornadoes as well. But really, I think the tornado threat, though the parameters are there, I still don't expect it to be a widespread tornado threat. It's certainly not off the table, though, as it looks like we may have some supercells to deal with at the beginning. Really think that the big threats right now likely going to be large hail and some damaging wind. And so if I just drag this over here for you, this is a graphic the National Weather Service in Louisville put out. Let me try to make this a little bit bigger here for you. Many of you watching from a phone here, I'm not going to be able to see. There we go here. Take up a little bit more of the screen. Again, there's that enhanced risk, and here's just sort of where they're factoring things in, wind and hail. They're big things, but you notice the tornado, well, it's not low. It is elevated just a little bit there as well. Again, their thinking is numerous thunderstorms. I agree with that. Large hail up to 2 inches. That's not what we want to see at all. Wind gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour, and yes, a few tornadoes possible with a lot of vivid lightning here with this as well. Let's sort of dive in and find out what's going on. We get a very powerful cold front moving in. And here's where we are right now this morning, the latest surface observation. There's the front back out to our west. But watch how this moves our way with time. The warm front will actually move in during the overnight hours. It's going to warm up tomorrow. And you're going to notice that humidity start to come in as that warm front moves over the area too. So we're going to creep that humidity back up. It's going to be very muggy. Temperatures tomorrow, well, you know, honestly, the temperatures here tomorrow, we're going to warm them back up. So here we are today. We're stuck here at about the mid-80s for our high. But as you get to tomorrow afternoon, some of you tomorrow afternoon are looking at about 92 in Louisville, 90 in Evansville, 88 as far north as Bloomington there. So upper 80s to near 90 around the area. And again, we've got a good chunk of humidity moving in. If I just throw the dew points on here, here's where we are now this morning. And it's more in the comfortable range here. As you see, but watch these purples start to overtake the area again as we move in through the day on Friday. So we've got just some a surge of humidity, a surge of mugginess coming back up to us. That combining with this cold front is going to be a recipe for some storm development here. As you go throughout the day on Friday, you've got first one boundary, that warm front kind of stays stationary, but it starts to move there again, and you notice that by Friday afternoon into the evening time, you got what we call the triple point coming right here into our region. The triple point is where that where you have the low pressure and the warm front and cold front meeting at here. And you have that, it's not a true triple point here. You've got this kind of, the cold front here starting to occlude out a little bit. Here's your cold front and your warm front, but you're right here in that region. So I do believe there will be some storms around on Friday morning early on. We're going to have to watch those. They look like they're probably sub-severe right now, but with a warm front in the area, always watch that, because the warm front can sometimes sneak some severe storms in on us that we don't often think about, because we usually think about the storm development with the cold front, but those warm fronts can actually produce sometimes more severe weather than what the cold fronts can. You've got to watch those, so that's something we'll watch out. And then as we go through the overnight hours on Friday night into Saturday, that's when the cold front finally will swing through the area. But notice this, even on Sunday, this low pressure is still in the area, and it's going to stick around for a while. Here's Monday, the low is still around. By Tuesday, here's another front moving through there on Wednesday and Thursday as well. So it's going to be a very stormy period for us coming up. I can just show you this here on the modeling. and give you an idea, there's that low pressure spinning over us up to our north. The warm front's through, the cold front sort of here behind us by this time. And this would be tomorrow evening, whenever the worst of the storms would be around, probably indicating the green here is indicating the precipitation accumulated in the past 6 hours on this forecast graphic. But the idea here is you've got a pretty good wide spread rain event going on here. Lots of thunderstorm development. And as you can see, notice that it gets even stronger. So here we are. This is at dark right here. This is about 7 or 8 p.m., let's say, tomorrow night. And then watch this. As you go into the overnight hours, here you are by about 1 or 2 a.m. in the nighttime. And look, you've got heavier rain moving in after this. So this is going to be one of the dangers of this. If we look at the actual upper level wind energy that could fuel this, here's where we are right now. There's not much over us, but that wind energy starts to climb in tomorrow. And then by the time you get into about, say, 5 o'clock onward tomorrow, you're starting to get the leading edge of that good wind energy coming in here. And then watch this. Here's dark. And now as you go through the dark hours, it's actually increasing in strength as you go through. So this could be one of those occasions where we look for sunset and we say, oh, good, sunset has occurred, so the storms will start to be dying down. Well, no, that's actually when the upper level wind energy is really kicking in high gear, and you get a nice low level jet kicking in with this, and what you end up having there is that storms ended up being enhanced. And so this could be a severe event that goes on well into the early overnight hours rather than starting to die down. And we don't have those a whole lot around here. Certainly there's the potential that for this particular one as well. If you look at just this particular chart, for example, what we're looking at here is you're looking at the coloring here. This is instability in the atmosphere. It's CAPE, convective available potential energy. Just a measure of how unstable the atmosphere is, and just no doubt extremely volatile up in the atmosphere. You're talking 4,000 and 5,000 joules per kilogram of energy up in the atmosphere. That is more than enough for organized severe weather. And notice the change in winds as you go up in height. So the red is down here at your surface. The black is way high up into the atmosphere. The blue kind of at your low-level jet area, about 4,000 feet up. Notice the winds get really strong as you go up, and they change height as you go up too. So if I just show you this, this is what we call a hodograph here. We'll take a look at, here's what I really want you to see is just notice this right here. So this is your winds, and this is with height. So this is your pressure levels right here, and you've got your kilometers written on here too. So you start off with winds like this, and then by the time you get to the top of the atmosphere, very strong winds like this. And so you are veering up like this as you go into the atmosphere. So now you've got a major change in speed as you go up, and a decent change in direction as you go up as well. What that is the directional and speed wind shear, and that's needed ingredients if you want tornadoes. Now, if there's any saving grace here at all with that, is that you've got your LCL, your lifted condensation level. Just think of that as your cloud base. Well, it's better. It's more than 1,000. It's more than it's more than 1,000 millibars here. So I know many of you're not going to know what that means, but all that to say is a little higher than maybe what we would really like to see it for tornadic development. It's a little bit more elevated, and that might help to keep the tornado threat down. So there are some good factors for tornado development. There are some factors that are like, well, maybe not as much, but I certainly would, I think, very strongly that there's a good chance we're going to have a few tornadoes out of this. Is it going to be a widespread tornadoes all over the place? No, probably not, but I could see 1 or 2 tornado warnings at least going on with this tomorrow night as these kinds of things move through. I think that would be pretty reasonable with the data that I am seeing here. Let me give you an idea here of what's going on, just to look at a future radar view. As we go in through the day today, we're going to be, it's beautiful skies out here, clear over most of the area right now. As you go into the nighttime hours, we'll start to cloud up a little bit more, and during those overnight hours, that's when we're going to start to see some rain move in, and it actually could be a pretty widespread rain event over a good chunk of Indiana here. We'll have some convection going on in the morning as you're headed to work. That will move out of the area here and into Kentucky as we head into the early afternoon hours, allowing us to have some hours there of getting destabilized again in the atmosphere. And so then, excuse me, as you go into the evening hours, that's whenever you're going to see things start to break out more. And notice that what we've got going on here for a good chunk of southern Indiana is small little individual cells. But again, watch this. as you go later into the evening hours. So here we are at dark right now. And again, remember, it was right after dark when that strong upper level wind energy kicks in. Watch what future radar does when that strong upper level wind energy kicks in. It's even after dark, but you're getting just rapid thunderstorm development after this. So again, this could be one of those situations where we're going to have to watch really closely tomorrow night. And notice these individual little polygon looking things that are shaded. This is, you can think of this as rotation tracks. What this is updraft helicity. It's a measure of spin in the atmosphere over 1 hour. But you can think of those as rotation tracks on the future radar. Don't use this as a solid gospel, as this is exactly what's going to happen, all right? But what this is indicating for us is there's the potential for some rotation with this, even after dark. So one of these kind of situations that we just can't rule out. Now, right now, we're, over 24 hours away, so future radar isn't the most helpful of things. We'll be able to get maybe a little bit better idea tomorrow morning and early afternoon once we get our highest resolution future radars, which only go out to 18 hours. Once we get those involved, we might be able to get a little bit more of an accurate picture of what radar could look like in the evening and start to fine-tune some timing a little bit. So just to give you a rough idea of the one timing as we wind this thing down here, because I know we're already into the 11-minute mark here. Some storms early tomorrow morning, likely overnight hours into early tomorrow morning. Then we're going to get a break. Those will probably be sub-severe, but again, with a warm front in play, wouldn't be surprised if we get a couple of warnings out of that. So it's just something to note. But the main action is going to come probably after 5 p.m. Tomorrow afternoon, and that's maybe even being a little bit early and generous with time too. It may be closer to 7 or 8 p.m. before we start getting things initiated. And again, we'll start to see widespread thunderstorm development as we go into the dark with that low-level jet kicking in, the nocturnal jet we call it, after dark, starting to really kick up things. That's a real possibility tomorrow. So again, all modes of severe weather will be possible with this. Enhanced risk across the area. If the modeling continues to throw strong risk, could we get upgraded to a moderate risk? It would not shock me for some areas. If I had to sort, if you wanted to draw on an area where the moderate risk might be located here, this would be kind of my rough guess at this point where that moderate risk would be. But we'll have to see whether they fire that or not. Either way, it's a very elevated severe thunderstorm risk tomorrow. And again, large hail certainly possible whenever you get these individual cells, but eventually it'll congeal into more of a line and become more of a damaging wind threat. And again, a few tornadoes certainly possible, probably not a widespread kind of a thing, but I do think a few would certainly be possible at this point. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, folks. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite, WilhiteWX.com, Southern Indiana Weather on Facebook. Just keep it tuned here for more, and as we go throughout the day and evening tomorrow, I'll certainly keep you updated. Have a good night, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.